Welcome to Jen Care's Live Talks powered by Swag Her Magazine and Chosen Counselors, the show that brings the community to you Mondays at 8 p.m. on Facebook and YouTube. Here we engage in tough talks and meaningful conversations, featuring guests that help us stay in the know. If you're watching on Facebook, be sure to like and follow our page. If you're watching on YouTube, be sure to subscribe to never miss a show. Now, here's your host, Jen Cares.
You know, it never fails where I have a glitch, but we get it together. Good evening, and thank you for joining us for another episode of Jen Cares Live Talks, powered by Swag Her Magazine and Chosen Counselors. I am your host, Jen Cares, Jennifer Harris, the founder of Chosen Counselors, a nonprofit organization that seeks to inspire, motivate, empower, and strengthen individuals and families. Here at Jen Cares, we specialize in bringing the community to you. We love tough talks and meaningful conversations. So be sure to like, comment, and share. And we thank you so much for tuning in. First, I want to give special thanks to Coach Janae for joining us last week. How content are you? It was such a good chat. And if you missed it, you want to go back and tune in. So I'm excited for tonight's episode. I was randomly on the professional version of Facebook, also known as LinkedIn, and came across this post and was introduced to our guest on tonight. So I'm really, really excited to share about his mission in educating the community and creating a safe space. Okay, so let's find out how awesome you are. Help me welcome Jamiel Owens to the stage. Good evening.
Thank you. Good evening. And listen, your intro, I got to step my game up because I was like, oh, this is major. Like, we're on the network. Like, kudos to you. It was dope. I like it. I like the intro.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you so much. So how you doing today?
I'm blessed. I'm still above ground. I'm breathing. You know, my family is good. You know, I can't complain at all.
Same. I like it. So here at Jen Cares, we always start with a quote of the day. And today's quote of the day is, here we go. A little person we might know, Dr. Seuss. He said, why fit in when you were born to stand out? Again, why fit in when you were born to stand out? What are your thoughts on that quote?
I think this lives today and has always been present in society. I think for those who have a grounding, a religious grounding, they know this more than anybody, that you are born to be different. And when you finally find your purpose and your niche, that is going to shine out and people are going to gravitate towards it. So I encourage everybody to, first thing is to figure out who you are. That's the thing, is that don't go looking for it through someone else's life. Look for it in your life and then start, cultivating that person to society, hopefully in a good way.
I like it. Now, I ain't gonna hold you. I didn't always like being different. Because you want to sometimes fit in, right? So you have to struggle with that until you find out, wait, I don't really like that. I don't like to do that. And it's like, I'm okay being different,
Yeah.
So a little ride. I didn't get there overnight. I got there. I'm getting there. So, friends, as always, I have prepared some questions to guide tonight's topic. But if you have any questions, be sure to drop them in the comments below and be sure to give feedback as we get into this good conversation. So I know you're not a fan of this first question. To the best of your ability, how would you describe yourself that you're comfortable with sharing with us on tonight?
I'm here to serve. I'm going to leave it like that. I'm here to serve everybody, no matter your political affiliation, no matter your skin color, no matter your religious preference. I'm here to serve you, and to show love in a capacity in which you, hopefully, as the receiver, can take and extend that to someone else.
I like that. You deserve. I might have to steal that, because in that, it's a whole bunch of different things. So if you can't do it, you'll connect with somebody that can do it, right?
Yeah.
And because sometimes you'll say, let's say I'm a teacher, so they think that they're going to get teaching from you, but it's so much more to you beyond whatever that title is. So I get here to serve. So now, we're getting into Be Awesome because you didn't give us specifics. I had to pull the specifics from somewhere else, right? So Be Awesome. How did Be Awesome come about? Well,
So
not Be Awesome. I gave it Be Awesome, but
you
you're
gave it Be Awesome.
yeah.
So I'm gonna start with, so it's a two-pronged thing with this. I'm gonna start with the Awesome Show. So the Awesome Show started back in 2014, after years of turmoil that I experienced as a autism father. My oldest son was diagnosed with autism at the age of 3, which I couldn't find help. I couldn't find a resource. Really, at that time, I couldn't find anybody that was relatable to what I was currently dealing with. I'm not talking, no disrespect to those with PhDs, but I needed a everyday blue collar worker, another male, to really kind of guide me and cultivate me to this life of a child with exceptionalities, right? So years of trials and tribulations and a lot of deficits in my causeway. I created this platform that was first a online podcast called The Awesome Show, then extended to online radio, then a social media presence where I put my life front and center stage to make sure that no other autism father would do the same mistakes that I did in my life. And it was really to give a really a hope and connection to these men, but also respect the autonomy of all these autistic individuals in which we love and cherish today in our society. I know I do.
For sure, for sure. So you said a couple things right there. Autistic father. So fathers need more than one. So you were able to connect with some fathers that are present in their children's
Yeah.
lives that
Oh,
want
yeah.
to be present and want to be educated on how to support their children, which is
Mhm.
amazing from the top, right?
Yeah.
Because often you hear from the mother's side, and I thought it was so cool to have like a father to be able to share. And then that you shared that he was diagnosed at 3. How did you feel when you first found out that he was diagnosed?
So I try to be utmost transparent on all of my podcasts. So I want to make something known. So before I actually tell you what my thoughts were, I want to kind of crack open or give you a little context, right? So we as people always see the outcome of the situation, right? But we forget that it's cause and effect. So me as a young black male, just like everybody, we've had a story, doesn't matter what your color is, we have a story. And I had a very tough childhood that was the cause of me having so many traumas, but not being man enough to actually deal with those traumas before getting into a marriage and having a child, which caused me to check out mentally and emotionally from my marriage at that time and not be the father that I knew I was able to be and who I am today. That's the answer.
So I like it. You went through your process though,
Yeah.
to be where you are today. Mm.
Yeah.
So in that process of because everybody has experienced a different walk of life, what helps you to get on the track that you feel like you are? Not saying like it's perfect, nobody's perfect, right? But what helps you to get focused and to realign your direction?
It was a stripping of my ego and pride. It was to understand the gift that Shane was in my life. So I want to give respect to everybody, autism families all over the world, right? Because you have to realize there are different levels of autism: level 1, level 2, and level 3. Level 3 meaning those individuals that need immediate supports, a lot of assistance, 24-hour care. And then you have individuals like my oldest son Shane, who is level 1, who is very self-sufficient, that needs a little bit of prompting, a little bit of help and assistance, right? Just like everybody else. When I realized that this wasn't about shame, but really about me being the better person and putting the religious aspect, uncovering that God gave me this gift because of my life going down a path that wasn't going to be um in a sense of better words, noble for me and in my life. He gave me a child that gave me the closest thing that I could tangibly hold to his love and understand without sitting there and physically coming down, right? Because he already did that before. We can go into a whole religious text with that. Shane was my savior because he told me, put down your ego, put down your pride, open your heart, work on yourself. And how did a young boy actually tell you to do that? And I'll tell you the reason how he did that and the reason why he did that, with his love. I was so adamant about finding love in this world because of things that happened to me, those past traumas, that I was finding it in the wrong places. So then when I had a child that was meant for me, I pushed that away, was absent away from his life, still looking for what I thought was love. It wasn't until I came into the realization that this was the gift to show me that love starts here. Love starts when I strip away those things that make you the alpha male in society, that makes you think that you're the man, that makes you think that you're on top of the world. And when you realize that your children, growth, mentorship, progression in life, servitude, these are the things that really make you an alpha male in this society. But I had to let go of my ego and pride. And Shane helped me. He built me up from the ground up, stripped me down from nothing to the man that I am today, where I'm serving and I'm working in a field that I love. And it doesn't feel like work every day. It feels like it's my calling, it's my purpose.
How dope. It made me think of how nothing happens by accident, right? And
Yeah,
sometimes people feel like I got pregnant before time, or I did this before
I
time,
know
or
it's not
whatever
an
before
accident.
time. But how everything is really in time for what we need, and how God uses different things, people, places, and things to help slow us down, to
Mhm.
redirect our focus and say, hey, wait, come back over here. You're doing too much.
Yeah,
How He gives us a little rope to kind of do whatever we're doing, but brings us back in. And the rope is really just a gate around. You could go free, but sometimes you got to come back in. And how dope is it to have this baby come about to help you get back on track? Whatever your baby is, people that are tuning in, to our friends that are tuning in, whatever your baby is that's helping you to get on track, that's causing you to slow down, that's causing you to say, wait, I got to do something different, knowing that it all works together for our good.
yeah,
Pretty cool. Pretty cool. So now you're an autistic father, well, awesome father, right?
yeah, yeah.
So how did Awesome come about to rethink or remix autistic? Because sometimes hearing that, people be like, "Ugh," or they don't know, um, but putting a good spin on it to show the positivity of it.
When I came up of it, I thought about, like, okay, autism this, autism that. It's a label, right? It doesn't define who the people are or the person, the
Mhm.
population in which we're talking about. And we
Mhm.
want to respect the autonomy of autistics, right? Of autistic individuals.
Yeah.
And I want to say for the audience, you'll hear me flip through first person, third person use of the word autism, autistics individuals, autistic persons. So just for context. So I looked at the title and I said, what can I do to show gratitude or respect to this population? And that's why I came up with Awesome, AUSOME. And the reason why I switched it, it's an ode to the autism population, a respect, a form of gratitude for
Mhm.
my eye opening, for my direction change. So, I came up with that. Awesome dad, awesome mom, awesome show, awesome father, autism father. It's all correlated towards the best, and you'll see that now. A lot
Mhm.
of people on social media use that term. I'm not going to say I was the first one, but if I was back in 2014 using it, so if you were before that using that term, then ode to you. But I started it in 14 and just ran with it since, and people have been really captivated towards it and relating to it.
I like it. I like it. So one of my missions too is to normalize the importance of addressing mental health, and a lot of things fall into mental health. So I appreciate how you putting respect to it, and it is a real thing, right? Different people have different special talents and special skills and things of that sort. I'm in the process of reading a Bible in a year, and it talked about how some people had different skills in different areas, and I equated to even in this, like it's a different skill that you might not have, but somebody else does have it, and it's their strong, it's their superpower. We
Mhm.
do to encourage everybody as they deal with whatever life portion that we're dealing with. So in that, how did you come into being an advocate for it? Like, why did you feel like you said that you felt like it was needed because you couldn't find somebody else around you? So what was that process of becoming an advocate? Because that could sometimes be self-defeating as well, because you're trying to do it, nobody else is around. They're like, what you doing? Because this is different. It's not the norm of somebody trying to, I mean, we advocate for what we want to advocate for, right? But
Yeah.
to really drive this mission and to drive your heart of really being out there to be to the other fathers, which you didn't have, how was that process for you?
Well, I mean, I always think about, how God just used my talents, right? So when it came down to marketing and promotion, I never done any of that in my life. My background was always like law enforcement, first responder. That's all I knew. But early on in my early younger years, I had a real knack for marketing and promotions and business. And I just thought about how can I effectively market myself, my campaign on attracting fathers. So I did that effectively. Um, I didn't see who I wanted to be able to consult to. So I became that person. And when I became that person, originally, selfishly, I only did it for me and my son. Like, okay, I can do this. But the thirst became real because I seen so many mothers out there. And I was like, but wait a second, if I'm a dad and I'm here, I know there has to be other men that are like that out there that need to see someone like me, that need to connect, like other mothers need to understand maybe what their spouse is feeling, or maybe some thoughts that may be going through their head, or why is he acting like this? So
Mm-hmm.
I decided to be that poster child, and I used the skills in which I knew, which 100% I could tell you, never did public speaking, never did any of the stuff. But
Mm-hmm.
God knew I had this in me. He knew I had the skill set to make this happen. And that's what I did. Full fledged, I went through.
Mm-hmm.
One of the biggest things with this, right, is in the autism community, one of the biggest things that we want the world to understand is that autism and mental health, two separate things, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when you think about this, there are co-occurring conditions. So an autistic individual can have autism and mental health issues co-occurring. But when you think about autism, it's just autism. So I understand there's a lot of complexity. There's healthcare systems that base the two together. But when you advise a family, an autistic individual, the first thing you should see them for is who they are.
Yeah.
I see my son Shane. He's a young man, not an autistic individual. He's a young man with autism. That's me,
Mm-hmm.
third person perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Shane is now able to communicate and talk for himself. He is able to say, hey, I'm an autistic young man named Shane. That's his advocacy. So I just wanted to throw that out there because a lot of times, unfortunately, in society, we're seeing a lot of our children hurt, a lot of our families left without any type of remorse or recourse for assistance because a law enforcement system or a healthcare system has now banished your child into a mental health
Mm-hmm.
diagnosis when autism is not solely that. So I just wanted to put that out there because I want to respect the people that, the community I represent and the people that I
Mm-hmm.
try to stick up for and advocate with alongside.
I appreciate that distinction because a lot of people can sometimes group it together, which was a challenge of the mental health, again, being separate from autism. And that's an important thing for everybody to know because sometimes they be like, whatever negative connotations they want to put with it, right? And we want
Yeah,
to clarify.
yeah,
Doesn't mean that it's a mental health challenge. Just like dementia, it's not necessarily a mental health challenge. It's just a health challenge.
hmm
So making sure that we know what the differences are, that we are educating ourselves. YouTube is our friend, Google is our friend, Siri is our
oh, yeah,
friend, AI is trying to take over, it's trying to be our friend too. We can make sure we're making educated conversations to not make anybody feel less than.
yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So so you said there's different levels to autism. So it's
Yes,
level 1, 2, and 3.
yes.
How has your experience been in learning the different levels?
Um, Firsthand, I have been across the Commonwealth. I'm in Pennsylvania. I've worked with families, talked to families. I have friends that are autistic. I have a son. I befriended these individuals not because it makes me look good within the service or the system that I work in. It's because I genuinely care about these people, and they make me better. Because on my days where I feel like I'm not doing the best, they big me up. On the days where I feel like, hey, I should have this, these people are content. These friends of mine are content with what they have, and they bring me back down to reality. So I'm blessed to have my friends who are autistic, who self-identify as autistic, and I'm not ashamed to admit that. I'm not ashamed to be out in public with them. I'm not ashamed to take pictures with them, to invite them over the house, any of that. So that's I've been blessed to be able to experience, and also to educate myself, which is one of the biggest things, education, and be able to expel that education out to the community. So I'm not only keeping this information in, but I'm giving challenges. I'm making people think about how they see their current circumstance. You may be saying that, oh, it's so hard. You have a high functioning, which is a term that is no longer used, but that will be considered a level one loved one, right? But there's a mom 4 counties over who has a high support need, autistic loved one who is really going through it. Mom doesn't have a support system. Mom hasn't had a break. Mom every night has to worry about different things with their child, right? So I try to put the connection in to make sure that everybody on the spectrum is respected, and their feelings and their points are heard and validated and acknowledged.
Got you. So I have a question.
Mhm.
You said that your Shane was diagnosed at 3, and I encounter a lot of parents sometimes where they're not quite sure what's going on. What are some warning signs for someone to explore just getting the testing? And the second fold of that is, what are some words of encouragement? Because sometimes they can be fearful, right?
Mhm.
I have a parent and she's like, no, because they don't want that label or whatever label it is. And it could be nothing. It could just be some more supports needed. But sometimes people are so fearful of the unknown, and it's not until we shine a light on it that we can address it.
I think I could go down hand flapping and non eye contact, or non identification of their name. Like if you
Mhm,
yell their name or say their name, they won't identify that you're actually saying that. These are things that you can find on the internet. I want to
mhm,
be concise in my answer. Um, you as a parent, especially
mhm,
mothers, you're maternal, you are the caregivers, right? When there's something going on with your child. Now
mhm,
I want to link that, and I want to take it back because I'm an 80s baby, right? I was born in North
mhm,
Philadelphia, 17th and Susquehanna, right? So back
mhm,
around the way,
mhm,
um, we had a mantra to take care of our own, right?
mhm,
So even though you knew there was an individual on the block that wasn't quite there, that's the term
mhm.
that we used,
Right.
we took care of them.
Yes.
We didn't go to the extent saying, hey, Mrs. Jones, Mrs. Reeves, I think Johnny here needs to probably see a doctor because he was doing this or that. We just be
Mhm.
like, don't worry about it, we got your back, and that's it.
Yeah.
um to my communities, not just the black and brown communities, but all my communities, that's gone. You have to
Yeah.
leave that mentality alone. There's more courage in standing up and saying, hey, I love you enough to tell you that I'm observing something different
Mhm,
about your child. I'm not an expert and I don't know what it is, but I would like to walk this path with you to just make sure that your child is okay. I
mhm,
think that's what we really need in our communities. There's no more taking care of little Mookie down the block. There's no more
yeah,
saying, oh, Brian's cool, he's just going to be around us. We got him.
mhm,
He ain't got to worry about nothing. Is now taking a step further and saying, hey, I respect you and I love you enough
mhm,
to say, hey, maybe we need to go get this checked out.
mhm,
Maybe you need to go and find some answers, or even better, hey, I looked up some research and I just wanted to give this to you. So maybe you can read it over. And if you have any questions, I can help you find
mhm,
those answers. That's where we need to be at today. We're doing a
mhm,
great job at it,
mhm,
but I think we can do better because, as you just said, there are parents out there that are afraid of the unknown, right?
mhm,
You're afraid of the unknown. Let me tell you this. When you get drunk and you get into a car and you drive, how come you're not afraid of that unknown? but you're
Mm-hmm.
afraid to sit there and take your child to get tested to make sure that they live out their life to the fullest potential.
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't know how you're going to get home, right? You and Ty,
Yeah.
I don't know how I got home. I was out, I was clubbing, and I got home. You wasn't afraid of that unknown, but you're afraid of the unknown that you physically see in front of you, knowing that you love this child and you want the best for them. And loving them sometimes is giving them the hardest answers, sometimes doing the hardest thing for yourself.
Mm-hmm. Mm. So good. So true. So true. Ooh. But sometimes, it, I don't know. I look at young parents as well. They really struggle a little bit more because whatever fears they have. Um, but like you said, the love is really getting whatever supports in place as soon as possible. That's like if there was a speech delay or
Mhm.
there's a walking delay and things like that. So, in pre-K, they do an ASQ to try to make sure you're reaching your developmental milestones. And even that, sometimes parents are hesitant, but it's helpful for you to go ahead and go along with it because it's making sure that whatever else is needed is good. If they're having trouble swallowing, you want to do that early. You don't want to wait too long because then
Mhm.
you're defeating the purpose of trying to get supports earlier on. It's like if it's a hole in the wall, you want to address it while it's small. You wait too
Exactly.
late, it's a bigger problem.
It's the same thing. You got a leak of ceiling. That's an unknown. I don't know
Yeah,
where the leak is coming from, right?
yeah,
But you
yeah,
want to take care of that. But you
hmm
can't do that for your loved one.
yeah,
Why is that? Why
mm,
is that? Is an item or something of value more important than your loved one? Like we really have to break that down and really
mhm,
understand. Now don't get me wrong, because I keep it 100. You know, it was things earlier on in the marriage to my oldest son Shane's mom when we were together that
mhm,
we missed once again because we were going through back and forth our traumas and things of that nature. But
mhm,
when I seen a sign that I couldn't ignore, I
mhm,
said, there's something
mhm.
going on with my son. I
Yeah,
didn't say it was something going on with him because now you don't take ownership. You don't partner with your child and say there's something going on with my child and I need to figure that out. Because when
mhm,
you say there's something going on with him, that's kind of disengaging, disconnecting with
mhm,
that child.
mhm.
And we have to change that narrative.
Yeah, yeah. Mm. It's good. Definitely got to change the narrative and jump in all hands on deck to make sure that supports are needed and a place of love. I like how you were sharing of the words to be able to encourage somebody else. So helping us with verbiage of how to address it. But also the person on the other side, the hope is that you're open to receive it and knowing that it's coming from a place of love because people be like, oh, you just saying that or you jealous of me or whatever thoughts in their mind, that causes them to put up their defenses where they're not open and receptive to what you're trying to do because you're doing it in love, or the past traumas of somebody really not doing them good, knowing
Mhm.
that no, I know you were doing bad, but I really mean this from the bottom of my heart. Like, how can I go with you? Can we do it together and things of that sort? And it's really important of having that community, and that has changed a little bit too. I get it from the
Yeah.
80s and things where everybody for themselves, but knowing that there are some people out here that do care about you, that do want the best for you.
Yeah.
Hmm. So, what would you say that families of autistic children, of awesome children, need most but don't often receive?
I think a moment to really breathe and to grieve what they thought their child was going to be.
Mm,
It is important because a lot of people is like, grieve. What are you talking about? My child's not dead. No,
mhm,
your child's not dead. But the thought process,
mhm,
your idea,
mhm,
which you had in store for your child, needs to die. Now you need to walk this journey with them to receive their full potential and support them and what they see their life is. That has to change. That's a hard pill to swallow for a lot of people. I was
yeah,
there too. I
mhm,
wanted, football player. I wanted, every possible thing that we in society put up there as far as the pinnacle, right, of being a person, a contributing member of society, right? But now I support my son and what he sees his future as. And I'm proud of him. I'm damn proud of him every
yeah,
single
yeah,
day. But that's
mhm,
that pride and ego that had to die. So I had to grieve what my
mhm,
thought process was.
mhm,
And I had to bring back to life and be blessed and be encouraged that my son is going to be the best in anything that he does,
Yeah.
and that his special interests are going to supersede anything that I could actually retain knowledge wise and be the best in. He's
Mhm.
going to be the best in whatever he sees that he wants to do in his life, and I'm here to support him.
Yeah.
So
So,
I think that that breathing part, I think you get a diagnosis, I think you do need to cry. When you
mhm,
get that diagnosis, I think you need that minute to sit there and just think about what you just heard. I
mhm,
think you need that moment to sit there and get out of your head that this wasn't your fault.
yeah.
You need that moment. And too often we bury our parents, right? And I'm a sole example of this. And we bury our parents and we go back to life the next day, never
Mhm,
taking the time to
mhm,
grieve and to go through
mhm.
that process of a loss.
Yeah.
And I say that in respect because this person is still there. Lose your mentality of what you thought your child was going to be.
Mhm,
Embrace what your child will become, which is
mhm.
an amazing individual in life.
Yeah. That's big. I often share like grief is not just the loss of a person, a place or a thing or the idea as you shared. And sometimes uh, we don't get that. Even the goals and dreams that we have for our own selves, right? We thought this would happen by this age, or this would happen by that age, or I'd be this far in my career, or I'd be in a totally different career than what I was. And you have to go through that process of letting that go for whatever it is that you are now. Or if it is something you still want to do, working out how to make that happen, but also not getting yourself lost in that because you can become overwhelmed. And then that could, go in the era of that mental health piece of needing somebody to talk to process those thoughts and feelings as it relates because it could be really big,
Mhm.
really big. Mm, good, good, good. Uh, so you said that as a couple, what advice would you give to couples that are trying to navigate um, life of themselves, their own personal walk, the walk together, and then the walk with a child?
Um, First thing is nobody's fault. I know we have a lot of genetic testing
Mhm,
excuse me, identifies genetic precursors in
mhm,
DNA from either side to see, which side has more autism prevalent, which side of the family. Um, while I do see the benefits of that, if you would like to continue having children, this will help you actually prepare for that as you
mhm,
grow your family. Don't use it as a tool to say this is your fault or this is your fault. Um,
yes,
I think for men, and I want to use my life as an example because I did not do this to my oldest son's mother. Um, you have to remember when you hear this, she heard this information too.
mhm,
So being that person to lean on and say, "Hey, how are you? What are you feeling right now? What are your thoughts about this?" And really being and you can even be co-parent. Really, you don't
mhm,
even have to be together. You just have a
right,
child. But at
right,
that moment, you guys are
mhm,
in this, and for the journey, you're in this together. But
mhm,
really take a moment to be that person that she or he can lean on
mhm,
for just understanding of what exactly was explained during that diagnostic session, right?
yeah,
Uh, for my couples out there, one of the biggest things, and this is really kind of a magnitude that even neurotypical or couples with neurotypical children should hold true, is you're a team. There is no I, there's no you, there is no them, there is us. And you have to understand that um, there are going to be many challenges and many things that are not going to go right. There's going to be aggravations. Date night may not be every week or every 2 weeks. Date night may be every 3 months, every 4 months. But each side, both husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever your situation is, you must be intentional on being present and being able to enjoy each other and also enjoy the journey that you're in. Well, Jay, how do you do that when everything is looking so bleak? Um, just give you some perspective. If you have a house, a job, a car, and any amount of money in your bank account, you are one of the top 1% wealthy within this world. that means that there are people underneath of you that don't have any of it. If you have a child with exceptionalities, um, you have a wealth of information that can't be displayed in any book, that people won't be able to teach you about. Why? Because now you're going to build the one, well, actually, not even one, three characteristics that we search for every day as humans: empathy, compassion, patience. You can't tell me one person on here, social media, that always posts about those three things and falls short each and every day. But you have a person in front of you that sees the world different, that is different in the physical form, maybe different in any other way, who will give you the biggest hug on the days that you feel like crap and will tear everything else away. Or how you are now patient enough, whereas though you was a road rage driver, but now because of your loved one with exceptionalities have showed you how patience works for them, you're a patient with everybody that you come in contact with. These are the things that our loved ones teach us. Learn from them. Learn it, eat it up, and grasp it. And I tell you, you will live longer. You will look younger. I'm 44. I'm 44. I mean, I got a couple gray hairs, but I'm all right. I still got my hair. Shout out to my dad. He ain't got it. He got the nice little baldy, but Shane saved me. He
Yeah.
saved me from he saved me from depression. He saved me from anxiety. He saved me because every time I get down on my knees and I thank God, because I could have went the wrong way. I was headed there fast and I could have continued down that path. But I stopped and I said, wait a second, I'm coming to this area again in my life. Third time, it's the same way. What is the message that I'm being sent? And who is the common denominator in it? And every single time it's my son. So now I have to take these scales off my eyes and I had to see the world through his eyes. You know what Shane sees? Shane sees love. He sees people. He wants to talk. I'm gonna tell you something. I'm sorry. I'm going on a tangent. I'm sorry. I'm gonna tell you this one little story.
You
This
are right. You
weekend,
are right.
this weekend, I'm taking my boys out to breakfast. Two times this weekend, strangers came up to my oldest son and had a conversation with him. And Shane did not say, "Oh, I ain't got time for this. I need to eat my breakfast," or "You know what? I'm busy right here." Shane was like, "Tell me more."
Mm.
You know what lesson I learned from that? There's nobody smaller than you. I don't care if it's
Yeah.
an old lady you never met before that's telling you about something that you don't even care about. You respect her enough to sit there and you bond with her, you connect with her. I'm learning patience. I'm learning a new lesson with my sons every single day, especially with Shane.
Yeah. That's a big one because life is so short, so we never know what that conversation can do. Because, like you said, everybody's looking for empathy, compassion, and patience. Someone to just hear them out, whether they're rambling, telling the same story over and over again. We never know how big of an impact that can make. Even for ourselves, we know we go to call somebody, and if they don't have time, we like get ourselves together or try calling somebody else. But other times we got to get ourselves together by ourselves if they're unavailable. But to have somebody take that time to check in and say, tell me more, it's like, oh, open up the can of worms. I got a story for you,
Yeah,
but it brings you joy and it just makes your heart, gives you those feel goods that you need.
exactly.
Yeah. Another part you talked about was the testing, right?
Mhm.
Of like trying to see what side it came from and things of that sort. And I feel like that is so I get it. But it sometimes can have a two-edged to it, right? Like you're
Mhm.
trying to find out to know what side it came from, or that some history is on your side and it's like, was it me and things of that sort. But at the end of the day, knowing that it still worked out how it's supposed to work out,
Mhm.
because people can get upset or have that fear or not fear but guilt of it's my fault, right?
Mhm.
So in your talks to encouraging, awesome moms and awesome dads, what are some words of encouragement for that? Because sometimes people do feel like it's their fault and it's just genetics. It's just life. It's just
I think the ownership of fault is is a double-edged sword, right? So when
yeah,
you're thinking about children who are born different or with exceptionalities, um, people want to locate who to blame, right?
Mm-hmm.
I pose this is that if we really get down to the meat of that, right? Um, we should all be blaming each other for things throughout the entire life, right?
Mm-hmm.
My dad wasn't around, when I was younger. He's around now. He's amazing. Am I blaming him? No. Be present now. That's all I
Yeah.
ask, and let's
Yeah.
move on.
Mm-hmm.
My mother, um, I was on my own since 16. She suffered from schizophrenia and depression, did not trust me anymore as a 16-year-old. She threw me out. I lived on people's couches. I was homeless for a little bit. I slept on porches. Um, she unfortunately passed away in 2014, and I stayed with her every day for 3 months. And I never broke up what she did to me, because
Mm-hmm.
that if we assign blame, we are literally killing ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
So for the mom and dad, and this is true, and I'm glad you asked that question. You ever heard the term refrigerator mother theory?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this was a theory that was very popular in the 60s, where when a kid was diagnosed, and back in the day, they didn't say autism, they just used the ugly R word, retarded.
Mm-hmm.
They will blame the mom. And the reason why your child came out like this, because you were cold, because you were
Mm-hmm.
negligent, right? And this is still popular today. So don't think it just because the term refrigerator mother theory has transposed to the 60s and hasn't come back. It is still present today. It just looks different. And
Mm-hmm.
social media has a lot to do with that. But anyway, we need to stop assigning blame to things of this nature.
Mm-hmm.
Once again, it comes down to, what am I being taught in this journey?
Yeah.
Why was I given a child with exceptionalities?
Mm-hmm.
What in my life that I see as, oh, I'm getting it, I'm perfect, I'm doing what I need to do? What am I being shown like, this is not what I have in store for you? But
Mm-hmm.
once again, for me personally, because I'm not here to invoke my religious beliefs, but that made me think of my higher power, my father up above, and how he knows everything for my life, right? And how I was going down a wrong path, what he didn't have planned for me, and how I can make the change. And the key was my son, Shane. So once again, I reiterate is that blaming each other is not going to get you anywhere but a divorce court, a separation, and child support. What you need to do is you need to come together to look at things of each other's life and be like, yo, I had a hard life. I was sexually abused. I was in relationships. Now you have an opportunity to love and care and foster a connection with a human being that loves you, that cherishes you, and sees you as their superhero every single day. When the world judges you on how many followers you have, how many likes you have, or how much productivity you can do at work, you have somebody that's going to think of you as the best thing in the world, like sunlights. And it doesn't matter what you do, it gives you an opportunity to sit there and to repent, or to say I'm sorry, and get back up the next day to be what that child sees you and knows that you can be.
Mm. So many good nuggets dropped here. uh, it shifted into like a parenting piece, right? Because there's a lot of parents out here that are blaming themselves. And I know the holidays are over, but during the holiday time, it's a big season of feeling like they gotta rob Peter to pay Paul to do all these things for their children and things, or life is life, but just being present is so much more valuable. And we don't understand it until we did get older. But also the piece of like, let's talk with your dad first, not being around, but now he's present. And so many fathers are trying to come back around now because they're getting themselves together and people are still shunning them. But don't block your blessing. Everything
Mhm.
happens for a reason. Nobody's perfect. There's some things you did too that wasn't good.
Yep.
So let's also extend that grace to fathers, because sometimes they didn't have the mentor for them. They didn't have the person to help guide them. Their father wasn't there. And now they're at the place to stop that curse or generational curses, one would say, to try to do better, and you're blocking it. So you want to be open to the opportunity. Now, again, I'm not saying open up the door and then they come in and take all your goods and things of that sort. Use discernment, be wise,
Yeah.
but also be open to the option of finding out your history, finding out, the similarities that you have. I had a conversation with a young guy. I do some groups, and he was like, who did you have to forgive? And I was like, my dad, because he wasn't a part of my life. But when I was ready, I reconnected. And you never know what joy that brings to whatever extent forgiving and letting go, because sometimes you'll never get an apology, but still letting it go because you got to keep going. And then a piece of mom of being there for her every day, in the midst of, what was going on for her, but being present. And so many times we're ready to give up and throw in a towel. And both of those pieces just go to the, again, I get not religious belief, but I love Jesus. And we talk about him over here sometimes, of honoring our mother and father, right? I share it's not necessarily a guidebook of how to be a parent because everybody has a different, walk and things of that sort. But when they're trying to get it together, when they're doing the best things and you're educating yourself of how to be of support, it helps you to still show up every day, because that it's something beyond her control, right? That she's doing the best she can and you want to still show love. And even, whatever exceptionality that you have, right? Being able to, again, that empathy, that compassion, that patience, because there's going to be a time we're going to want somebody to be empathetic, compassionate, and patient.
Yeah. It's honor your mother, right? Like my mom did that to me. I cursed her. I got a tattoo even on my arm, as if she already passed away. And I had to reconcile with that when I got the call because she was homeless for a number of years. She was on medication, but then she became homeless. And I only had 3 months left with my mom when I found her. And you think I was saying, oh, well, she's dead to the world? No, I didn't even bring that up. I was there every single day until her last breath. And I never brung up even the hardships I did, the trials that I did. None of that mattered at the time. And that never mattered at the time. We hold on to anger and it ages us. It deteriorates us. It kills us, literally. In that case, for anybody that's listening right now, and you're like, oh, well, I can't do that with my dad, my mom. I understand that, and I want to acknowledge that. But there will come a time where you will be asked, tell me about your mom, tell me about your dad. And you have to make that conscious decision. Are you going to curse them? Or are you going to be like, you know what? My mom and my dad, they tried their best. It wasn't always the best for me or them, but they tried their best because once again, we're all imperfect, right? And you leave it like that. That's still honoring your mom and your dad. You know why? Because you didn't curse them. You gave an honest truth. They tried their best. And you acknowledge humility in that comment right there. So I'm here to change perspectives because I've been through it. I don't talk this because it sounds good or it makes me look good. I've been through some things where I should have been cursing a lot of people out in my life, and instead I'm apologizing to them. And I'm really cherishing that I have a second chance to even engage in that apology with them.
Yeah. It's not until we really find out that life is short, until it really gets to our door, like we hear of a lost loved one or someone taking their life or life just being the end of
life
the road.
Is life,
yeah. And it's not until those situations get a little closer to home that we then get a change of perspective. But I want to challenge us because we don't know our time. We don't know when the last day will be. People are walking out of their homes and thinking that they're coming back home when they're not coming back home due to bullets having no name, due to cars having accidents. I saw a car came off a tow truck and harmed somebody else and took their lives. So we never know when our time is. And people are just having bad days too. They just walk by you and see you and be like, I want to harm you today. Crazy, but it's happening, right? So we just want to make sure we have things in alignment to the best of our ability with the time that we do have, because it's so important.
True.
Good. I also like the other part. You set another part up. Like if you got a house, you got a car, you got a job. But then you said any amount of money in the bank. So friends, wherever you are, that penny, that quarter, that nickel, that dime, you are doing a lot better than you would think. So yeah, taking a moment to be grateful for what we do have and the life that we do have and supporting those around us. So in your process of, becoming an advocate and things, can we talk about your support system during that time? Because sometimes people don't know what to say. Right. So let's talk about those that don't know what to say, how to encourage them and give them some better words to say to be able to help you breathe in those moments, right? And to grieve in those moments. and what are some positive things people can do of supporting you as parents?
I think acknowledgement, not saying, oh, my pain is more than your pain,
Mm-hmm.
but not acknowledging the pain and sitting in the pain. When I first got into Christianity, right, one of the books that I read by accident because I didn't know where to start. Right, they don't give me a manual. It'll be like, oh, you got to start here, and then you're gonna learn everything about Jesus and everything. But one of the books that I read was the book of Job, and if you know that was a book of suffering, where God gave the devil permission to tempt or to take away from one of his noblest men here on earth. And he
Mm-hmm.
stripped him of everything. He killed his children. He burnt down his house. He took away his crops. Back then, in those ages, you had plenty of farm animals and everything. You were wealthy. Stripped him of everything, gave him leprosy, which was one of the biggest diseases back in the day. And I remember the part where his three friends came and sat with him. And in that time, they mocked God. They talked about him like, this is who you worship, right? And it came to a point where Job was so down, and he was like, you know what? You're right. Why do you do this to me? If I was really embedded in who you are, I served you. Why do you do this to me? And then he had a moment, still sitting with his friends. So they're still talking trash, but he's sitting with them. And then he had a moment of reconciliation with God and said, I'm still here with you. I still believe and I still have faith in you.
Yeah.
And God not only blessed him, but blessed him 3 times over. And in the midst of that, God wanted to destroy or kill his friends. Oh, they blaspheme me? I'm going to have to take them out. But Job stood up and said, no, God, let me work on them to serve you. And God gave him permission. And they all lived happily ever after. So why do I tell you this story? Because it impacted me.
Yeah.
Is that we have to sit with our friends, our loved ones. We have to sit in it with them. We have to cry with them. We have to hug with them. We have to mourn with them.
Yeah.
But in that time, we often also have to encourage. We have to give them hope. We have to pour into them. And that's the most extreme way, the most caring and empathetic way that you can acknowledge a parent, a person, neurotypical or neurodiverse. That is the most extreme way, and it should be on the top of the list of everybody. Just sit with them in it, absorb that. If you're married, sit in it with your wife. Sit in it with her.
Yeah. Ooh. It's so good because people sometimes don't know what to say. Or they're saying the first thing that comes to their mouth. The mom said, if you ain't got nothing nice to say, don't say nothing at all. But they think that it's nice and they want to share it, right? So then like I have like it's an acronym is to think, is it true? Is it helpful? Is it inspiring? Is it necessary? Is it kind? And if you can't get through all 5, keep it to yourself. You can get that it's true, but is it helpful? Then keep it to yourself. Or it's helpful, but is it inspiring? Is it going to uplift? If it's not, keep it to yourself. Is it necessary? Because we ain't got to say everything that comes to our mind. But then the last part is it kind? Because the hope is that, we are doing things in love because, like you said, you already had to breathe. You already had to grieve. And then you're going to come over and start up some stuff. I can't take it on my baby, but I can take it out on you, things of that sort. And that part of still showing empathy, still showing compassion, still being patient, because obviously they don't understand, right? But using it as a moment to educate them as Job, let me try to help them out with things of that sort. And that's a testament to us and being friends to those that are in our circle. Like, what are we doing to really help encourage them? Because sometimes they don't know what to say. They mean well. That's my benefit of the doubt wanting to say that they mean well, right? Because sometimes they really just don't know no better, right?
They just don't know. Yeah.
But that big part of being there. And sometimes if you don't know what to say, just still being there, going over and helping clean, like, I don't need you to do that. It's all right. It just, helps me to like make me feel like I'm doing something. So those different things, that administrative helps, it's like when somebody does lose a loved one, everybody's going over and checking in and calling in. But then when the days go by, nobody's
That's
around,
That's
so
it.
being consistent too.
I say the same thing with people online. The support is there until the moment you log off. And then when you log off, you're by yourself. I notice, I was by myself. I had to bury my mom. I didn't have anybody. People were sending, flowers, and I bless their heart, and I really do appreciate it. But the moment the funeral was over, the moment I came home, I was by myself grieving. And that was the worst feeling ever, because I had to acknowledge the loss and the feelings that I had by myself.
Mm-hmm.
And if I would have had, and there was some friends that, they were uncomfortable with death and they wanted to be there, but they're like, I just can't do it. Me personally, I can honestly say, if they would have extended an offer just to be like, you're in your living room sitting in the dark, I want to sit here with you.
Yeah.
Let's just sit together. I think I would have had a more a feasible outcome that was quicker than the route that I had to take to get here. So that's just my thoughts. Be there, please be
Yeah.
there. We make a big thing right now in society about mental health. How much does it take for you just to sit in it? And
Mhm.
it's it's one of the most powerful tools that we have as human beings, is being able to identify and like a good friend of mine, Dr. Michael Hanna, says, be the right kind of help in that
Mhm.
moment, and
Yeah.
sit in it with them.
Yeah. Mm. This is 2 weeks in a row. Y'all trying to get me my emotions on how I feel about it. Get myself together. But that's so real, because another part you shared about people trying to gauge whose problem is bigger, whose grief is bigger. Um, and losing a parent, you have a different aspect. I remember it's going on like 23 years for me of losing my mom. Horrible.
So,
We do not accept any more people in the club, okay?
yeah,
That's my thing. But unfortunately, like, people are going to join this club, right? And a friend of mine, she was like, do something to celebrate her, things that sort of around Mother's Day or birthday. And I was like, yeah, no, I just want to stay in my bed, right? And but wasn't until she lost her mom, she was like, I apologize, because I had no clue of what the experience would be like, right? And
yeah,
everybody's experience is still different. So it's some people that are going strong and celebrating, but there are some people that aren't as strong, that aren't able to quite celebrate, right? So that part of, if you love the person, if you care for the person, checking in on them,
yeah,
um, through the whole process. They come to your mind, send them a prayer for them,
yeah.
send them a card. I was in a Dollar Tree and I saw this card. I was like, oh, this is cool. I bought like 10 of them, sent them out to 10 different people,
There you
and they're
go.
like, oh, because, we get a bill all the time when I need money, but to get a card where somebody's just randomly checking on us, because we know the addresses of the people, right? So
Yeah,
just sending a word of encouragement, because like you said, Facebook will post something and people will comment in that moment if they see it, right? But then
yeah.
when they see your face, they're like, oh, you got that $5, got borrowed $5, or something told you differently. It's like, I'm grieving right now, or
I'm
whatever it
grieving.
is is
Like, you
going
ain't
on,
just see
right?
my post. Yeah. Like, like people, it can be from the dollar store. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
As long as you acknowledge people
Mhm,
and you
mhm,
acknowledge what they're going through, I
mhm.
think that makes you a superhuman. That makes
Yeah,
you a superhero.
yeah,
That makes you unforgettable. I always say the biggest thing is that I don't want I would rather have people at my funeral to tell my sons, your dad helped me in my life. Your dad helped me keep my marriage together. Your dad helped
mhm,
my wife realize that I could be a better father
yeah,
than them telling, "Oh, your dad was a good man." There's nobody good on this planet.
mhm,
Just here to serve and do the best that I possibly can do. But
mhm,
if I
mhm.
impact somebody's life, if I
Yes,
save a marriage, if
yeah,
I make or allow an autistic person to believe in himself, if I have my son to stand up and say, I am who I am, and I
yeah,
know my dad advocated for me and others just like me, and now I want to do it just like him. I've done my job here.
yeah.
That's what matters.
Mhm, mhm, mhm. uh the thought came to, if I can help somebody, then my living will not be in vain. And sometimes we get discouraged because we're trying to help the masses, but sometimes it's that one person. A lot of times it's that one person that will come back and say, thank you, I needed it, you didn't realize it. But the nine kept going, but that one to come back and say thank you, and that's all you need a lot of times, because it's like, I got to keep going because somebody is watching, somebody is looking. And it stinks because we go through different things, and it's not even for us. just to help somebody else. And you're like, well, why are you putting find somebody else to do, God? But thank you. Why not me? And thank you for giving me the strength, because some people don't bounce back from some of the things I've been through.
No.
It's only by the grace of God that I have bounced back from many things, of having people around, of not having people around, of people snide comments and things of that sort, people supportive comments and things of that sort. But again, working to exude that empathy, that compassion, that patience, because if we all keep on living, never say never, it may come past your door.
Yeah.
This is good. Okay, so I gotta talk about you a couple more seconds. Is it okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
You good?
Because you're an author. You've also written books, right? So like, even though you're on the ground, helping so many people, you've also put some books out there that will be here forever and ever. And sometimes people may not hear this live, right? People may not see you in passing. People may not know from 6 Degrees of Separation, but they might randomly be on Amazon and just be Googling and searching, looking for something. What are some of the books that you have out here that are encouraging, that people should pick up? Because we're still in the beginning of the year. People have resolutions, want to still keep it going, especially in the first of the month. So as we're in the first quarter of the year, what are some books that you have out here to share?
So I wrote a total of 7 books, and then I was a co-author in 1, so 8 total. My first book, Life is a Puzzle. God Gave You a Cheat Sheet. It's a 15-day devotional for autism fathers. It basically explains my life and puts it to biblical principles. And it goes in depth to my life. I don't sugarcoat anything. I tell you what I did wrong. I tell you what type of man I was, and I show you pictures of exactly where I was and where I'm at currently right now. So that's like one of the key books. I also have a children's book, What Daddy Wants You to Know, which is it's a children's book of a dad basically telling his son what he wants him to know. And in the back of the book, there's a couple of spaces where a dad, if you purchase it, can actually write a message to his son. I'm working on the dad and daughter book right now. I have a book to help dads in the IEP process. That's a Kindle book. I have affirmations and acknowledgments. It's a book that really challenges men with some questions in there, some real specific questions on how to be better. These are questions that I had to ask myself in this journey with my oldest son. So that's just some of the books. Once again, I don't like talking about myself. So you can go on Amazon and you can punch my name in, and all of them should come up. I have a book too of poetry and photography. So I did that or whatever, and that really helped me through my depression. Someone gave me a camera and said, why don't you take it out on a lens? So all of those pictures in there are my personal pictures. Those are my personal poems that I just wanted people to maybe spark a creative side to help them, see the light, help them to leave it out on a page or on the lens, as they say. So those are just some of the books, but they're all on Amazon. Appreciate the love and support, and that's it.
I'm gonna let you slide. It's like I got a book or whatever. Okay, but I also want to put this plug out here, right? Because Father's Day is coming up. I have a friend, he'll be like so many days to Father's Day all the time, and people are laugh, but he's like really big on trying to make sure that we enjoy and celebrate Father's Day because it's a blessing for our fathers. We can't get here without right. Mm-hmm. So gifts come around, right? These are some exceptional gifts to give out, to be able to encourage, because in the quiet times they can have this book to read it, to process, right? And then to possibly connect the affirmations and the acknowledgement and the empowerment, because sometimes people feel like they're all by themselves, but if you give them this book, it's nobody's business, they kind of reading it, as they have moments and finding joy in it and finding knowledge in it and finding strength in it. So this is a good item to add to the men that I love this, what Daddy wants you to know. And then being able to write that letter in the back of it. I like it.
Thank you.
And like it's a puzzle, God gave you a cheat sheet. I'm trying to figure out this cheat sheet myself every day. So sometimes we need that. So another thing I do want to highlight, you share some events. So let's talk about those. I'm gonna put the flyer up, and if you could talk about it, I want to be able to share that for others to connect with. So the first one is our 2026 Involved in It Forum. Can you share about this event?
Yeah, so this is a fathers conference that I started. This is the third year. So before my position professionally working at the Center for Autism Research at CHOP, I had this dream of men gathering in one space where we can lean on each other and build community, be intentional, accountable for all of our actions, and be the men that we know that we can be in our journeys, right? So I came up with this conference the first year. 91 men showed up, 15 non-male caregiver, because it's, even though it's a fathers conference, it's open to autism fathers and mothers. The second year, 138 men showed up. So this year we're trying to do 150. As you see on the flyer, we have some of my close friends who are autism fathers, very big names in the Philadelphia tri-state area. Then we have our keynote speaker, but also I want to make no shout out to Amisho Show Baraka, who is a Christian hip hop artist that will actually be our keynote speaker on the 28th. So it's 2 days.
What up?
March 27th. There you go. March 28th. And he is an autism father as well as a lecturer. Once again, a recording artist, well known. And this is a day to uplift autism fathers, autism mothers, autism grandparents, aunts, uncles. If you're a professional and you just want to experience this conference, register for this conference. $20 gets you access to both days. The 27th is actually a party. So we're going to celebrate you. We got a DJ, we got a catered event. We're going to have prizes, swag. We're going to have panel discussion, keynote address. Then the 28th, we get into the meat of it. Breakfast, lunch, everything's provided. It's a great event, and I'm just blessed to be able to do the third year of touching fathers. And this is not, with no disrespect, this is not just gauged to my community. I have made friends all across the world of different nationalities, fathers coming in, single fathers who are Caucasian, who are just like, this is the best thing that I've ever had. And I get a chance to call them brother and just tell them that I love them and lean on them. So this is open to everybody. Autism moms, come in. We got a spot for you. We're going to make you feel comfortable. It's a great event.
This is pretty cool. To see the fathers come together, that's always pretty dope. One of my friends was in the comments, Darnell Thomas, and he is like the king of resources. I can't wait to send it to him because he sends me a gazillion of resources today, and I love it. And I share it out. I'm gonna share it to him so he can share it with his network. I got some other people that's always emailing me.
Good. Share it, please. Share it, please. This is not, oh, well, Jamiel did this and Jamiel did that. This is like, hey, I went to this conference, a dad on the phone, and I'm sorry I wasn't there. What can I do to pick up the mantle now and be present? This is that mom that, was kind of reluctant to go to a conference that says fathers. And then she went there and she found her community. And most importantly, she found out the reason why her son's father left the marriage. And now she can say, I forgive you. I just want you to be in our child's life. This is what that conference is about. This is what it's about. This is not about one man. This is about all of us coming together to break bread, to lean on each other, to build that compassion, that empathy, to unload, to learn, and to grow. And that's what you will get at this conference, guaranteed every year.
You said the mothers could come and find out, oh, this is why, right? Because, I like conversations like this, right? Because like in a female, I already know what I'm thinking. I want to know from the male's perspective and things of that sort. And it's so important to get the male's perspective because we'll be like listening to the girls and they'll be like, yeah, because one and one do that. Yeah. And it's not always that clear. Sometimes there's other factors in place, knowing that if we create a safe space, keeping it a safe space and not abusing that safe space, right? But using the wisdom that you do learn from experience like this in our daily walk. It's really, really good. Cool. Oh, that's good. I'm excited for that. That's pretty cool. So on December, look at me. March 27 from 5 to 8. You said it's a party, so this gonna be nice.
Yeah, so this is the party right here. So you come on out. Once again, when you register, $20 are for both days. So
Okay.
excuse the train in the background, but if you want to come out for just Friday, you can
Mm-hmm.
do that. If you want to come out for just Saturday, you can do that. It's
Got
here
you.
for you. And then the 28th is the actual conference, the full day conference. And like I
Mm-hmm.
say, we got Show Baraka that's going to be our keynote speaker. We have a very a fruitful day that no one's going to leave out of there feeling the same way they walked in those doors. They're going to
Yeah.
really feel heard and acknowledged, and that's the purpose.
And you don't want to talk about yourself. You're doing some good stuff. Whoever this person is that's on my right, y'all, whatever way y'all see this thing, y'all know what I'm talking about. Okay. Hats off, right?
Thank you.
Because it's also not easy to do these kind of things. But as you keep on going, as you see the need, if it's that one person that comes back, but I'm sure it's more than one person's coming back, right?
Yeah.
Because it is so impactful and creating a safe space for many brothers to get together. And brothers, all brothers, no color, things are men coming together, forming a brotherhood of it's pretty cool. Pretty cool. And these books, go ahead. Also, I gotta catch up with you. Let me write a couple more books. Let me sit with
Listen, it's I don't promote them. I, I'm not Amazon's top seller or anything like that. It was really just like God was just like downloading stuff, was like put it on paper, get it
you.
out. That was a form of therapy for me to get it out and really
Mhm.
be reflective on my life. And
Yeah.
when you read your own words, you're like, "Dang, did I do that? Did I say that?" Like, okay, cool. And it's really it was really beneficial for me. It was really beneficial for me to kind of get those out, but also do it in a way that can help other men.
Mhm.
Um,
Yes.
you know, Once again, just servitude. I'm just happy to be able to serve others. It's not really about me. It's
Yeah.
just what can I do to help these men out here that are really struggling, and
Mhm.
I'm learning. I'm learning
Yeah.
from them. While I'm helping, I'm learning from 'em.
And that's big because I'm not doing marketing either. I ain't gonna hold you, but I do believe that at the right time, whatever it is that you need will come across,
Yeah.
and you'll get what you need,
Oh
right?
yeah.
And it's up to you to go ahead and get it because those are some books that are going to be really helpful. Again, I'm going to try to pull the books together so I can share that because again, I think that's an awesome Father's Day gift. For the fathers out there, for the men out there, and for the ladies too, to be able to hear from again that male's perspective and things of that sort. You had another one that's saying being depressed, open my eyes and heart. That's
Yeah.
you?
Yeah, that was my that's the book that I have my photography and my poems in. So that's the
Yeah.
one that it I was very down, and then I was handed that camera and was like, take pictures.
Mhm.
Let it speak through the lens. And I
Yeah.
entered actually a couple of art shows, and people bought my pictures, and I just started like 3 months in, and people couldn't believe it. And I was capturing a lot of different images that was very surprising to people, like
Mhm.
very good stuff. So I just been blessed, once again, talents that I didn't even know I had. God just
Mhm.
revealed it, was like, just
Mhm.
do it. You got it.
Mhm. Yeah, and that's always big. A lot of us have a lot of skills that we don't even realize we have until we just randomly stumble upon it and try. It's like, I'm a professional.
I'm all right. Yeah, I'm all
And
right at this.
I'm a photographer too. Give me a good iPhone. I'm just clear on my little lens thing, and not
Exactly.
good, right?
Exactly.
But the other part of it too is like, even if you're not in it for a long time, whatever time you are in it for, the joy that it brings you, the uplifting that it brings you, it's worth it for that moment, that year, that 2 year, that decade, right? And then switch it into whatever else it is that you're gifted to do.
True.
Oh, this is cool. What are some words that you want us to walk away with?
Um, I think the biggest thing, and as I keep on doing these interviews, which thank you again for allowing me on your platform. Just
Thank
from
you.
one imperfect person, one failed husband, one selfish son, one imperfect father, one lying and cheating um, person, just trying to figure out life. I love you, and I want that to resonate with you because there's a difference between people showing loves and gifts and being able to actually say it to a stranger. So whoever you are, hope you hear my words when I say I love you, and I truly mean it. and I hope it saves you from taking your last breath, or walking out of your marriage, or doing anything that's negative. I hope when you hear that, you see God in me, and you hear His voice, and you understand that a broken man can be torn down and built back up in order to love other people and express that to you. So I love you all, and I hope you remain blessed and healthy, and know that you are acknowledged and you are seen. Just be righteous.
Mm, mm. I love it. Also leave. I also often leave with the lead. Leave, send off with the love too, because it's so simple, but it's so big, and sometimes people don't hear it. I'll never forget hearing a young lady say, she felt like her mom didn't love her. I was like, well, I love you, right? Yeah, you tell me all the time. And sometimes verbally hearing is so much different than you just showing those actions. So I challenge you to also share with somebody in your life that you love them, because then life is short. We never know when it come back around. But yes, I love that. Y'all be sure to follow our guests at the Awesome Show or at Awesomeness Inc. Again, I will be sharing the flyers because I'm so excited for that. That's pretty dope to just continue to see the growth and how people continue to gravitate, because it only takes one and then tell somebody else, be like, come on, bulls, we need to go to this because it's going to be
Yeah,
good.
yeah,
It's a cool thing.
yeah,
But that's pretty, pretty cool. So guys, y'all be sure to go and follow to see the awesomeness that's going on over on Instagram on the Awesome Show and Awesomeness Inc. This is pretty cool. And again, if you are free on the 27th, 28th of March, I got the right month now.
yep,
That's this month. You got some time to plan. Everybody's not booked all the way out. So if you're not booked all the way out, try to put it on your calendar because it's going to be a dope, dope time. Really,
yeah.
really cool.
And if you are an awesome mom or awesome dad that want to come to this conference, but financially, $20, we're all strapped. Listen, come down there, and you will get in. I will cover you, because your sanctity and you being present is more important than getting money from you. So if you are having financial hardship, you can reach out to me, or you can just take the drive down there. I'm not going to turn you away. We're not going to turn you away. Come get this information, be transformed, be acknowledged, get the support you need. Don't worry about that. Your family, your structure, your progression is more important than $20.
I love it. Don't often do this either. But Chosen, we're going to sponsor 5 tickets. So I'm going to get the information to send over, because this is so cool what you're doing. And like it's
Thank
the
you.
simple things sometimes. These are also ways of encouragement. This is really cool. Again,
Thank
seeing
you.
fathers come together. I was the little girl that wanted a father around. So if you're helping some fathers to stay around, I want to push that mission.
I
Um,
feel that. Thank you. I appreciate. Listen, you're a blessing. Thank you.
yes, yes,
5 people. Let's get them down there. Let's get them. Let's get
yes.
them support. Seriously.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah. Well, whoever you want to send, if somebody wants to go, you drop in a comment. I'll let them know so that you get your name on the list. But either way, making sure it's still going, is going from my pocket to yours. Make sure this the mission of what it is that you're doing. Keep going. This is pretty cool.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope you have a great evening.
Thank you. You too. Thank you, everybody. Peace.
Oh man, that was pretty cool, friend. You know, Oh, that was pretty cool. That was pretty cool. I enjoyed myself. I hope you guys enjoyed yourself. A lot of good things that are going on. That's not the one I want. Here we go. Work this one out. It'll work. But how cool is that? Awesome. How awesome are you? And I hope it's that fathers that go are encouraged to keep on going in this thing called life. If you know some fathers that could benefit from going, maybe not an awesome father, unless you are an awesome father, whatever father you are, right? But to be able to go and hear other fathers, to get some inspiration, to get some wisdom and things of that sort. They have that mentorship, they have that brotherhood is really, really needed. So y'all be sure to check it out and what is going on in Wilmington on the 27th and the 28th of March. Don't forget our quote of the day: why fit in when you were born to stand out? Dr. Seuss. Again, why fit in when you were born to stand out? I will be sure to share the flyers for the event that's upcoming. Again, we'll be sponsoring 5. If you would like to go, please do let us know so we get your name on the list. We won't be here next week. I'm going to take a day off. Why? Because, self-care. Or either I didn't put that date out for people to schedule. But it's okay because we booked for the next Mondays, right? And if you do want to be a guest, be sure to comment guest or send me a message. If you know somebody that would be great to share their story, I would be excited to have them on. I'm so excited for always meeting new people. We got some great guests coming up. So again, no Jen Cares next week, but we will be here that next Monday. I do love y'all for real. I hope you have an amazing week. And that you know that you are loved and that you are needed in this world and that you do not give up. So until next time, I love y'all. Good night.
Thanks for joining Jen Cares this week. Special thanks to our sponsors, Swag Her Magazine and Chosen Counselors, guests, and viewers. Such a good conversation. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you found value in today's show, we'd appreciate your sharing it with a friend and dropping a comment down below. Until next time.